Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
So today we have to discuss about the ancient Indian kingdom. We have discussed various civilization from the beginning of Indus Valley, Vedic religion, and later different developments. And once again, our first most powerful kingdom in India, which established by Mauryas. Who are these Mauryas? How they established empire? So that is, and what are the contribution made by them? That is very important to note. These Mauryas, they established their empire in 180 BCE, before Common Era. And there was a chaos and confusion because small kingdoms existed and there was no unity. But after establishment of Mauryan Empire in 180 BCE by Chandragupta Maurya with the help of Chanakya or Kautilya, they provided unity to the Indian subcontinent. Or these Mauryas for the first time provided a single rule, a single political rule to whole India, or they became the emperor for the first time. And before Mauryas, Nandas ruled India, Navanandas. Padmananda, Mahapadmananda was the first ruler and Dhanananda was the last ruler. Dhanananda. And this Dhanananda was greedy and he was not a good ruler. And that is why this Dhanananda was defeated by Chandragupta with the help of Chanakya or Kautilya, and he established Mauryan Empire in 180 Common Era, and the capital at Patna, modern Patna, what we call Pataliputra. Pataliputra was the capital of Mauryas. Now the question is, who are these Mauryas? And Mauryas, so far as their origin, there are various theories regarding the origin of Mauryas. First one, Vishakadatta's Mudra Rakshasa says, this Chandragupta Maurya as Mayura Sutta. Mayura means peacock, son of peacock. And secondly, Jain literature says that he belonged to a tribe of Mayura Poshaka or tamer of peacock, peacock tamer. A family of tamer, and that's why that kingdom named behind this Maurya, Mura. And one more theory says Maurya is derived from Mura, supposed to be the concubine of Nanda, king of Magadha. Magadhan Empire, they had ruled for a time, and their concubines and this Chandragupta born to her, and her name is Mura, and that is why that kingdom, dynasty came to be known as Maurya. But according to Buddhist literature, Mahavamsa, he was of a Kshatriya clan known as Maurya. Maurya, or he belonged to a Kshatriya clan called Maurya, which ruled at Pippalivana. Many historians have accepted this. So, he belonged to a Kshatriya tribe. And then there are many sources regarding Mauryas. Even Arthashastra. What are the sources available? Even Arthashastra of Kautilya or Chanakya, Indica of Megasthenes, Indica of Megasthenes, Vishakadatta's Mudra Rakshasa, Vishakadatta's Mudra Rakshasa, and Ashokan edicts, monuments, and at the same time Silonis chronicles Deepa Vamsha and Mahavamsha. Deepa Vamsha and Mahavamsha. So these sources throws very good light on Mauryan history. And here Chandragupta, as a first ruler, he conquered Magadha and Punjab, and he built a strong empire. During his period, even Seleucus Nicator, he invaded, but he was defeated by Magadhan Empire, your Mauryan Empire, and he sent Megasthenes as an ambassador to the court of Chandragupta Maurya. And during the period of Chandragupta Maurya, he conquered a major area including Kabul, Afghanistan, Kandahar, and Baluchistan. So according to Jain tradition, in the last days of Chandragupta Maurya, he embraced Jainism and came to south, that is Shravanabelagula. Even today there is a Chandranatha Basati, Chandragiri. So that Chandragiri, where Chandragupta Maurya, he came and settled, and there itself he died after following Sallekana Vrata, means fast unto death. So this Sallekana Vrata was adopted by Chandragupta Maurya, and later he died, and he came here because of the influence of Bhadrabahu, Buddhist, Jain monk, that is Bhadrabahu. So that's why after him, his son Ajatashatru came to power, and later Ashoka came to power. Coming to Chanakya or Kautilya, he was a spirit behind the establishment of the kingdom, and he wrote Arthashastra, and this Arthashastra especially deals with the political aspect, and in this book Chanakya, he explained the 7 angas, parts of state. There should be 7 angas to be a strong state. What are these 7 angas? and that is Raja, that is king, Mantri or council, Janapada or population, Durga, fort, Kosha, treasury, Bala, army, and Mitra, allies. So these 7 parts should be there for a strong kingdom, and he explained the 3 parts, Chanakya. That is, first part deals with the king, his council and the government. Second part deals with the civil and criminal law, and third part deals with the interstate law or international law, diplomacy, etc. So Bindusara is the son of Chandragupta Maurya. He ruled for some time, and 300 to 273 BCE. Nothing much was known about him, and later his son came to power, that is Ashoka. So we are only focusing about Ashoka. Ashoka, who is this Ashoka? Because before the decipherment of inscription, there was enough confusion. In the different inscription, we come across Devanam Priya, Priyadarshi. But nobody knew who is this Devanam Priya, Priyadarshi. But Maski inscription brought into light who is this Devanam Priya. Devanam Priya, Priyadarshi, Ashoka. So now we came to know Ashoka, and is explained Devanam Priya, Priyadarshi in his edicts. And here Ashoka, as a great ruler, he ruled in between 273 to 269 BC, and he came to power in 273 BC, but accession to the throne in 269. As a king, Ashoka fought only one battle, that is Battle of Kalinga. Battle of Kalinga. So this battle was fought against Kalinga ruler Kharavela in 261 BCE. So in this battle, Ashoka defeated Kalinga, and it was clearly depicted in the Rock Edict 13th. Rock Edict 13th. So this Rock Edict 13th is important because this explains Battle of Kalinga. According to this, 1 lakh soldiers were died, and 1,50,000 soldiers were captured and put into prison. And Ashoka, by looking at this war field, filled with the sorrows, and later he changed his policy. He changed the policy from Digvijaya to Dharma Vijaya. He never fought battle after Kalinga war, and Kalinga was one and only battle fought by Ashoka. After that, he embraced Buddhism and discarded all these battles. And Upagupta influenced him to join Buddhism. Well, Ashoka and his edicts, various edicts were found in the different places, especially Ashokan inscription, and Ashokan inscription, edicts of Ashoka. Ashokan inscription written in Pali and Prakrit, Pali, Prakrit and Greek language. Greek language. But the script was Brahmi and Kharoshthi. Brahmi and Kharoshthi. James Prinsep. James Prinsep, a British historian, he deciphered inscription in 1837. And this inscription, Ashokan inscription, available even in Karnataka, different place of Karnataka, especially Maski, in Raichur district, Gavimat, and Palkigunda, in Koppal district, Brahmagiri, in Siddhapur and Jattinga Rameshwara, in Chitradurga district, Nittur, Udayakollam in Bellary district, and Sannati in Kalburgi district. So in the different part of Karnataka, we have Ashokan inscription. It shows that Ashokan rule extended up to Karnataka. And apart from this, what you can see, religion of Ashoka. Ashoka belonged to which religion? As we know, Ashoka, he embraced Buddhism and followed Buddhism. And it was because of the influence of Buddhist monks. And he visited, what are the important principles of Ashokan religion? That is, one, parents must be obeyed and teachers must be respected. Parents must be obeyed and teachers must be respected. The first principle. Second principle, everyone should speak truth. Everyone should speak truth. No lie. Everyone, those members of this Ashokan religion, they should speak truth. Thirdly, servants, youngsters and dependents must be treated with love. There should not be any discrimination. Either dependents, either youngsters or servants, they should look after properly, they should be respected. Fourth principle says, that is, no injury should be caused to men and animals. Not only men, even for the animal, there should not be any injury, non-violence. And fifthly, one must suppress anger, cruelty and extravagance. You should control your anger, cruelty, extravagance, expenditure. All these to be controlled by a man. So this is preached by him. Now, he adopted various measures to spread Buddhism. Ashoka was a great follower of Buddhism, and the question is, what are the steps or measures taken by Ashoka to spread Buddhism? Number one, he visited different Buddhist holy places like Lumbini Garden, Kapilavastu, Gaya, Sanchi, Saranath, Kushinagar, etc. He visited different Buddhist places. Secondly, he built a large number of monasteries all over the empire and spent huge amount. for the purpose of saints, Buddhist saint. He established monasteries. And thirdly, he spread the doctrine of Buddha by engraving them on the rocks, pillars and stones. Nowadays, we have media, banners, newspapers, TV, etc. to advertise. But during that time, there was no such media, and inscriptions, stones, pillars, they were used to publish and propagate the principles or any important things. So that was made by him. And fourthly, he appointed officers for spread religion, and that is Dharma Mahamatras, Yuktas and Rajyakas. Dharma Mahamatras, Yuktas, Rajyakas. So these are the officials appointed by Ashoka for the spread of religion, and at the same time their duty is to observe whether people are observing, practicing this dharma properly or not throughout the empire. And then fifthly, he organized the Buddhist council at Pataliputra in 250 BCE. And mainly this council was called to settle the controversy or difference among the Buddhist monks. Sixthly, Ashoka sent missionaries to different countries, Buddhist missionaries in Afghanistan, Burma, Sri Lanka and Europe. He sent missionaries, especially his own son and daughter Mahendra and Sanghamitra. They were sent to Sri Lanka to spread the Buddhism. And seventhly, he undertook many welfare activities. For example, he dug wells, built rest houses and planted trees on the banks of the river, and all these contributions were made by Ashoka to spread the religion, that is Buddhism. So in this way, what we can see, contribution really appreciated. So this is about Ashoka and his contribution to Buddhism and his battle. Thank you very much.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.